recorded on Russian infrastructure. 3 major substations were offline, and transmission lines feeding central districts were crippled. The Russian Ministry of Energy admitted temporary disruptions, while the Defense Ministry claimed to have intercepted most of the drones. Yet satellite images and open-source intelligence painted a starkly different picture: scorched compounds, melted transformers, and craters across several utility zones. Internationally, the event rippled through diplomatic channels. European capitals closely monitored the aftermath, balancing concern over escalation with recognition of Ukraine's right to self-defense. In Washington, defense analysts emphasized the precision and symbolism of the strike, suggesting that Kyiv had chosen its targets carefully to pressure Moscow without crossing a line that might alienate its Western allies. In contrast, the Kremlin accused NATO of complicity, hinting that the attack bore Western technological fingerprints. Inside Moscow, citizens faced the practical and emotional consequences of the blackout. Supermarkets opened late. Banks remained closed for hours. Families huddled in candlelight. The previous night now, gathered around battery-powered radios for updates. The government urged calm, promising swift restoration, but the sense of invulnerability that many Muscovites once felt was gone. For the first time since the war began, Russians in the capital experienced, even briefly, the kind of civilian tension and fear Ukrainians had endured for nearly 2 years. On social media, young Russians posted videos of the darkened skyline, overlaying captions like, "Now we know how they feel in Kyiv." These posts were quickly deleted, but screenshots spread widely before censorship caught up. The blackout became more than a technical failure. It became a symbol, a moment that shattered the illusion of distance. Analysts described it as psychological warfare at its most effective, not by destroying morale directly, but by forcing an entire population to imagine the fragility of their modern comforts. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials privately hailed the operation as a turning point. For months, Ukraine had sought to extend its drone capabilities beyond the front lines, investing in long-range systems capable of striking hundreds of kilometers into Russian territory. The Moscow blackout proved that effort had matured. Some drones, reportedly equipped with terrain-following navigation and low-visibility profiles, evaded sophisticated air defenses. Western defense experts speculated that Ukraine's engineers had effectively rewritten the playbook for asymmetric warfare, showing that precision attacks can yield enormous psychological leverage without mass destruction. The night sky over western Russia flickered with an eerie orange glow moments before everything went black. Reports began flooding in just after 11:40 p.m. Multiple explosions had rocked several key power plants near Moscow, cutting off electricity to millions. Sirens blared through the cold. November air as authorities scrambled to assess the scale of what quickly became one of the most audacious drone attacks in the entire conflict.
A flock of 50
According
Ukrainian
to early
UAVs screamed
Ukrainian
toward its
long-range
target at
drones
300 miles
penetrated
per
deep
hour.
into Russian
In
airspace,
45 seconds,
targeting
they will strike the
high-voltage
heart of Russia's drone
substations
empire.
and critical
The
power
Valuey Shahed
distribution
complex,
centers
a production
that
line
feed
of drones
the
that
Moscow
attack
region.
Ukraine day and
Witnesses
night.
described
For
streaks
weeks,
of light
Moscow had
racing
hailed the
across
plant as
sky,
a symbol of
followed by
industrial
the thunder
might.
of secondary
They
blasts
trusted their
as fuel
defenses,
tanks and
a
transformers
layered network
ignited.
of Nebo-M
Across
radars,
Moscow's sprawling
Panzer
skyline,
S-1
one by
batteries,
one, the lights
and a
went
newly
out.
installed 96
Apartment blocks plunged
L6E
into
system.
silence. Traffic
Convinced the
signals
site
failed.
was untouchable.
Metro tunnels stopped
Commanders
mid-operation,
reportedly held
trapping
barbecues
passengers
outside the
underground.
gates to mark
Mobile
record
networks
output,
began to flicker as
laughing
backup
beneath the
generators
illusion of
strained
safety.
under the sudden load.
What they did not
For
know
a capital
was this.
long thought to
For
be
3
untouchable,
months, Ukrainian
this was a
intelligence
chilling
had watched in
reminder that
silence,
modern
analyzing
warfare no
more than
longer respects
2,000
borders
hours of
or
satellite footage,
assumptions of safety.
mapping shift
Videos
changes,
shared online showed a vast stretch of darkness where once the city glowed, interrupted only by the dim headlights of vehicles crawling through powerless intersections. Local emergency teams moved swiftly, but chaos was unavoidable. Fire brigades rushed toward the power plants struck in the western districts of the Moscow Oblast. One of the main targets, believed to be a high-capacity thermal power station, suffered direct hits to its control infrastructure. Columns of smoke rose hundreds of meters high, visible even from the city center. Russian officials initially downplayed the incident, claiming localized technical failures, but as footage from multiple angles confirmed simultaneous strikes, the narrative collapsed. Within hours, Russian state television switched to backup transmitters, broadcasting from an emergency studio illuminated by generators. Anchors' voices trembled, slightly as they read government statements, condemning what they called a terrorist provocation, but analysts across Europe saw it differently. This was not random destruction, it was strategic signaling. Ukraine, facing relentless missile and drone bombardments against its own grid for months, appeared to have sent a powerful message. Russia's infrastructure, too, is vulnerable. As night deepened, the scale of disruption became clear. The international airport at Sheremetyevo halted operations temporarily after a surge in grid instability caused runway lighting failures. Several hospitals switched to emergency power. While digital payment systems in parts of the city went offline, residents rushed to convenience stores, emptying shelves of bottled water, flashlights, and batteries. On social media, hashtags like Moscow Blackout and Drones Over Russia